you would have told us, like, hey, at the end of last stage, hey, Into the Breach have a chance of making it to the top 3, we all would have made you out to be crazy. Yeah, but
it depends. If they were in NA, it would have made sense.
Okay. Well,
but in Europe, not so much.
Understandable. But then for Koi, it's not really looking that good once again. I mean, stage 1 was a struggle for them, and then stage 2, once again, they got a point yesterday, but they'll need more than that.
Yeah, I mean, the headline of yesterday is it was better. It couldn't have got worse, but it was still disappointing. And, you know, I'm not really going to hold back here. When you're seeing teams be able to ping out a Cade Claw and not have an effective tool to deal with removing the Cade Claw on a basic breach, on a basic map like Clubhouse, you know you've got a problem. They seem to have a problem with synergy, with teamwork, with communication, with coordination. They don't look like a team at all. And it's not, you know, it's not the Koi that we know and love. It's not the Koi that we have such high expectations of. Jigsaw had a great day yesterday. I know he's had a few doubters. But apart from that, it's really not been a good story whatsoever.
Are you using copy passes on the desk? They need to work communication,
honestly, Anna, I forgot half of it. I just made it up.
I mean, it's as you say, Fresh. It just doesn't make any sense the way that they're playing. This cannot be how they're doing in practice, right? I mean, we have Leon who's playing the hard support, but he's in more entry duels than one of their entry fraggers, and also Cryan, who is more of a lurking role. Like, how? Why? What's going on? Why is this disconnect happening? Something is awfully wrong within the team. I wish I could tell you what it is. Maybe that they don't have enough time practice, but then again, is that an excuse? You should be prepared for now. This is when you play, not in 3 weeks.
No, but it feels unfortunate, right? I feel like we've seen a few playdays now of Koi, but it feels like we only got more question marks than that we really had answers for them.
I just have no answers for Koi. It's just blank page. I haven't seen them play the video game yet because all they've been doing is hiding, crying, and that's about it.
Well, Cryan, one of the players on the side of Koi, and then Noah, a player on the other side, though. He's really been performing, but is there something that puts these two in relation to each other?
So we've put them in a little head-to-head, and I'll be honest, it's a little bit cheeky for me because I've given these two players titles. I'm giving them awards, mid-stage awards.
Wow.
Noah, the most improved player in EUL by a country mile, based on stage 1 and his Playday 1 performance. Cryan, absolutely the opposite. He's regressed so far from what we're used to seeing. Currently the lowest rated player in the entirety of Europe, and that includes an Arctic and Leader, who, you know, was kicked from Heroic, and an Arctic subbing in yesterday. Not taking any engagements from Cryan's side, and I think this is what we wanted to kind of show, is especially from Cryan's side, 8 kills in, you know, however many rounds it is a bit criminal from him, to be honest. Tends to be quite lucky. You know, we saw him in the very first play day, an X-Suit's going down in the basement. He's in the second floor in a closet with 7 goo mines in hand. Doesn't seem to be in the game whatsoever at the minute, and we know he's got the quality.
It must be something that's wrong mentally there, because it's just the operators he's playing, and in the role, first of all, I think the way he's trying to play is an outdated way of playing Siege right now, and his role is just not working within the group. But then it's just the team overall, that they don't seem to communicate, like, Cryan, we need you here. Cryan, we need you to come with Warden. We need you to throw your leash trap. It just doesn't seem to be like the communication. Maybe it's the individual responsibility. I genuinely don't know where to put down the finger, but everything is wrong. Everything. Fresh could do better in that stack.
Wow. All right, there's a lot to be fixed, Indy, but there's very little time, as it's only their, one more chance that they have, or 2 more chances that they have. Let's see what map will have this matchup as well, because both these teams didn't make it to the major. It's new territory for both these teams to be playing each other, but we'll end up on border and Into the Breach start on attack.
So whoever we end up interviewing after this game, the first question, that I think we should ask is, how have we ended up on border? Because neither team has it anywhere near their top preference. I have it for both teams as being their 8th preference out of 9. It's a map that neither team really wants to go to. ITB, we have never seen in this, in TT9 or ITB days, we've never seen them on this map. In terms of Koi, we've seen them play it, but only against Secret a couple of times where they got, they lost to stage 1 Secret on it pretty handily and didn't look convincing at all on it. The one thing I will say for Koi, there is really nowhere to hide on border. It's such a small map. You can't go and hide 3 floors away. There's only 2 of them, and it's a very compact map.
I don't think it really matters what map they play, Koi. They just need to grow some balls. Like, seriously, they just need to start actually taking the fights to their opponents and play the way that they want to play, because they're not. And Border, I guess, in a way.
It should force you to do that, though.
Yeah, I guess it should force you, but if you still don't have those set balls, then it doesn't matter. Because you can be as confident as you want on the map. The map can be played in a very specific way, but if you're not playing that way, doesn't matter what you do. So it's up to each and every single player in that team to step up, because there's a disconnect. And I mean, you bring on 2 new players. Is this the way you want to go on and show them? Because the 2 players that are underperforming right now are 2 of the core members. It's Leon and it's Kryan. They need to step up. They're core members, old school players that have won a major. The level they're playing at now is disrespectful to their new teammates, because they don't deserve to come into a team like that.
Some very stern words, but indeed also true. And then talk about the new addition, Jigsaw. He's been doing decent.
He has had his haters. You know, we've seen a couple of people go for him in the interviews, specifically Ted, but also Leonsky yesterday. I think, you know, Jigsaw's come in. It's a very arbitrary metric, but he's got the highest headshot percentage in the league. And he did perform yesterday. We saw him flowing, getting a few kills yesterday. He was a shining light yesterday in what was a bad Koi performance. Again, a map like Border, it might be one that he gets to, you know, run around, get on some good guns and have a little bit of fun with that. And hopefully he can produce the performances that, you know, intrigued Koi to bring him all the way from Australia.
Yeah, I want to see Hoxty as well get involved in some of the more entry duels, because he's been missing out a little bit there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one of the strengths that I saw in him when I played against him many, many years ago. You know, his mechanical ability from then, and I think I want to see him start doing that as well. So there's Jigsaw is doing good. Decent, I'd say, not great, because none of them are doing great. And then if we can see the players activating and then Hoxty taking a few more entry duels, I think we're looking at something. Leon just need to calm down on that part. I mean, you're hard to support.
One thing I will say for Koi is that they do have an opportunity. If they get a clean regulation win today, and I know that I've become kind of the Koi sympathizer of the desk because Fabian loves going in on them. If they get a clean regulation win today, they back it up again on Monday, they could end up on 7 points. Getting into the top 3 and getting through to the title is still not out of the question for them, despite how bad they've been. So, you know, I've got some weird hopium going on here.
I mean, they have to at least, because it's Koi. If they need a win today to keep themselves into the opportunity to get into the top 3 for their group, ITB's last chance to be making it, to grab some points at least, because it is their final play day as well. We'll be heading into Border with Fluke and Hap.
Thank you very much, Anne. And the team. They didn't get the rest. It's me, Fluke, and I'm here with Hap.
And we don't need those names.
I like how the music kicked in when you came in there. That was cool. That was almost on
bringing
purpose.
boss
Look at
music.
that.
That's what I'm bringing.
Is this true? Is this real? Is this real and true?
It's a very dead even split. So, stakes at this game, as Anne just mentioned, ITB's last play day of this stage, potentially, because they haven't qualified themselves yet for the playoffs.
Yep.
If they win here with 3 points, they will be on 7, and then Wild and Virtus.pro, who will be facing each other later, are 3 points behind them, depending on, of course, who's eventually going to win that. And both those teams will play later on today as well. So basically, long story short, into the breach, they need 3 points if they want to have a good opportunity, because otherwise they're going to leave it into the hands of all the other teams in the group to see if they might be able to make it through.
It's the very sort of spicy thing about this group is because nobody's made a clean break. Secret, they've obviously technically got 2 wins out of 3, but one of them being an overtime win means that nothing has really been as full fat as Wolves, just sort of coming in 6 clean points. They can still sort of push for 12. It means it's really up in the air. I mean, you look down the list, 3 teams on 4 points, the leader's on 5, and Koi's on 1, but they could get themselves up to 7. The grand scheme of total points left, and obviously, you know, that changes if one person wins and one person doesn't, but you can have, I think, Koi can get themselves up to 7 points, ITB could get themselves up to 7 points if they win here of the trade. The highest any of the teams can get is up to 10 points. So even the bottom and the top, the race is still kind of up in the air.
It is definitely up in the air. Every single team still has an opportunity to make it, although Koi's opportunity, of course, is the smallest out of any of these teams. So they have it within their own hands to try and recover that. After what was probably, you can basically say they had an ITB start to the stage with the 7-0.
You
That's
could
last stage,
say that.
is. The TT9 back then.
It's a, well, I mean, it's a factual thing to say. I'm not saying it's not factual.
Not speaking any lies here.
But, I mean, if you're saying it's an ITB start,
Well, the
Sure.
TT9 start. Let's put it like that.
yeah, because this ITB team, I
They've been
mean,
really
the
good.
way
Yeah.
they've grown, as Fresh sort of pointed out, they've sort of had such a good progression. You're looking at, obviously, Noah's for that specific role. He's been MVP of the past 2 games.
Oh, there it is.
That they've been able to play. Oh, that's a cool camera.
Looks like it's part of the lighting.
It does look like it's part of the lighting. Sneaky. He's been MVP of the past 2 games that they've played. And then the first one, he was the second worst player in the whole lobby. So it really is this sort of night and day showing from the roster. And let's see, I guess, if ITB can take a victory without it going to overtime, if they can just push it over the edge, or if Koi can take a victory of their own.
Alrighty, as they're getting underway, As already finding himself in detention, holding down on a rotation on the main stairs. Just, you know, never know if you're going to be able to find something there. And Kenta slipping in the Twitch drone here. He's going to be able to get a free shot at the mirror window. Oh, no, body blocked by Leon gets. He just turned back in time. Stepped right in front of it.
Now, Azza wants to see if he can try and get this grenade up to that corner position, the rotate round onto long, just double checking where the player is. I actually saw the barrel of the gun, but I don't think they truly saw the barrel of the gun. The C4 won't get the catch. The pings will come through. It's soft underneath, and, you know, the longer that they sit there, the more likely they might get picked and pegged by that grenade. Said that's the reason for the pace of Azza here. The Selma will get itself onto the mirror window, and oh, Leon took a risk, and Deepak got caught as well at the same second. Crying on the back end of rafters, gonna have to steadily make their way back towards the site because there's not really anyone there. Loses out inside break. There's suddenly Junker inside the site. Jigsaw gets one, but Kendry's going for the plant in the meantime. They know exactly where he is. He'll swing a corner in a second. Does get the kill on the back of that, Jigsaw. Post-plant situation. You can hear more of the breach being opened up. They're making things awkward. They're watching on the right-hand side. Kendry is playing this smart. He sort of played the bait of the game, and there's the end of the round. But ITB popped it.
I'm just. Why run out on the mirror window with the Selma on it? Yeah, you're gonna lose it, but it's like there's more than one person on the balcony there. Losing two players like that quick, like in succession. I'm not gonna gloss over it too much. Great round from ITB. They brought the pace. They did what they needed to do. They grabbed the advantage and they instantly went with it there. They really went into second gear or third gear even to get themselves on the side, get that plant going, and basically force the remaining defenders to go for a retake, which was only 1 or 2 at that point. And Koi have decided to not run that top floor again and have gone down towards the tellers. Verticality does come in here. In terms of the hatch mostly, that will be leading into the bathroom. There'll be some slight, openings to be made as well in some of the flooring, but nothing too impactful. But usually that hatch is a big congestion.
Not the best start. I think it's sort of fair to highlight that there. Obviously, Koi, if you're looking at their previous game, they lost the opening round. It ended up going all the way pretty much to the end of the game. Dragged out in this sort of back and forth battling here. You need them to get their teeth into this game. You need them to sort of start finding some success sooner rather than later, because at the time I said, oh, they got the second round, but then there was Secret getting another 3 in a row. They just need to hold on to the game, get themselves involved a little bit sooner on, especially on Border, a map that, first time we're seeing it in a UL this split. It is a very aggressive map. It can really let itself in for those quick pops and pockets and explosions. Add the watch there onto the drone, and the grenade has the watch onto the castle.
Just getting rid of some of that utility, spotting out some other pieces as well, just to give everybody a bit of a read on what exactly they're dealing with here. Whereas ITB being on the attack, they need to solve that puzzle. Oh, that's unfortunate, losing a Twitch drone like that. It's going to be Krein's property now. It's going to be driving around with it. Knows what kind of things he can do with that later on. I don't think there's any gadgets that he can really take out with it. Maybe the Gemini, but Azar gets taken out by him anyway, so it doesn't really matter in the end as Kenta drops as well by Jigsaw. A better start for Koi in this round.
Obviously, they talked about Jigsaw a little bit on the desk. Him being able to get his teeth into the previous game and sort of step in is one of those signs of a good time. And a better time here, as I said, on a map that is very aggressive, that lends itself well to gunners just doing that thing that they love to do. Crying finding another kill. Brings his, I think, total tally for the season up to 9 over the rounds that he's played. So he's another name that needs to get that confidence going, get himself involved into the fights. 2K and a 3K, and suddenly he's, you know, up 30% of his season's average in terms of total kills.
It's weird, right? How you have like these big players that have performed so well as Jigsaw takes down Yunka. Just struggling right now throughout this stage so far. We're almost managing to find a kill there to bring the body balance slightly back into even numbers, but failing to do so. Going onto the office right now, spots the Orcs, but it's a double swing to come through. Hosty will find that kill, and it's only up to Noah now. Repels into the balcony, into being strung at, but Hosty gets his head removed quickly, tries to go for a wallbang, but I believe that there was actually a Kiba on the other side that prevented Noah from getting the kill onto the Azami player.
Yeah, they were happy to have that protection. Stop them being swung through, and oh, with 30 seconds, no diffuser, barely any more health than it, and eyes inside a sight. They're just going to see what pressures they can put on. None. Deepak is still in a presence. Can Koi do what they haven't done this season and get another round in a row in this first half? Will they go back up to Armory? No.
That's the call they have to make, yeah. I was going to say Armory went kind of horribly wrong when they relied on the mirror windows and they tried to run out everything they got to protect them. So workshop ventilation will come on. And, you know, mirror is still there on the side of Deepak. You can still play that up on the top floor. It's just not as big of a deal if you lose that compared to if it is the actual site that you now lost your one line of defense in. It's also why you usually see... basically a mix of mirror windows up top. Sometimes you see it in a little side office, and sometimes you see it on the double wall. The double wall one being easier to destroy, obviously.
Yeah, you give yourself your full sort of stretch. You, again, play against the verticality. You can have a bit of wiggle room. Crying's getting detention locked in because it turns into a little bit of a sort of back and forth. Curious about the bees that have been swapped in here off of the thermite. The Selma's probably bought as the reaction of, well, we haven't got a thermite, but we do still need to try and get some walls open. Detention is probably going to be a focus of one of those Selmas. Will it be another quick sort of punch and drive towards the site with a sort of 3-2-1 go energy we had from the first take? Because that time they took Armory. They took it pretty well. Deepak, though, is on that mirror roll this time around.
Just trying to see. We see the bees coming out from Grim. Definitely seeing a lot more play at this stage compared to the last, ever since the buffs that came through.
I had like a Mandela effect moment where I was like, there's been loads, like Grim's like, you know, top like 50% of operators, I swear. Fresh with his great statistics was like, didn't play like 4 times, Emmy. And I'm like,
still
okay.
Way more than stage 1.
It's still way more than stage 1. But because he was played such a small amount in stage 1, being played 4 times, I'm like, he's up there now. He's
definitely up there.
Because you're just used to seeing the logo.
Upper echelons now.
Upper echelons. He's meta now. Don't argue with me, but a quick break there. Obviously, Jigsaw took some damage. That is more than just a run through a wall. Caught out. There's going to be the C4 in response. There's a lot to Kendaru.
Oh. So weird as he was on a rappel out there. It's like, did it go over and just exploded out there? Is that, I don't know. It does a lot of damage there. Anyway, that was no good sound. Hope that isn't meaning actually anything, as the C4 pops from Hosty. Still gonna be able to find anybody. There you go, that was a bad sound. Noah finds Jigsaw though, so we're back in a 4v4. So Koi managed to get a kill without actually having to do anything for it. The internet strikes again. We saw it yesterday in the game from Wolves where player lagged out on those final clutches, and Hosty's going up now, tries to rotate around, but an angle's being held by Azar. Will find him. Only 3 from Koi remain now.
I mean, a little bit unaware, I suppose, is the only way of putting that without putting the word careless onto it. Deepak suffers on the back of a grenade. He's going to take the drop, but he wants to fight before he goes down. He's, spoiled for choice. They do go down inside the engagement themselves. Kendaru is not finished off, though, but Leon just finds the last, finds the second swing, and Noah suddenly alone. Deepak bites it back, and it was an unfortunate disconnect. Obviously, the round was more than enough in progress, and I'm assuming if Yonka isn't back, we'll have some kind of a timeout.
Hearing some noise. Jigsaw leaves as well now. There's yeah, okay. The pass gets called. We lost a player on both teams, so we could also just continue with a 4v4. We don't worry. It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
Yeah, we shouldn't do that.
Deepak, Jigsaw, in good spirits?
Had different glasses on there, though.
So
Even Hossie are already wearing glasses.
if you're wondering of whether the players are just doing this for you, the audience, there is part of that, but also you can see all of your team's cameras the way it's done. So the team can see each other. Which is why Leon is.
That's why crying is laughing. So he's like, oh, these idiots. Now, quick rehost, of course, or pause until I don't know which one it is, but we lost 2 players.
It will be a rehost.
Seemingly, it's a pause if I
It's
look
a
at
tech.
Hossie's screen out there,
Yeah, it's a tech. It's a wait.
which means no talking. So what can you do? You can pose and walk, or just sit there.
Why are they walking? Where are they?
Steps in for the day.
Where are they walking? This is a reminder. If anyone's at home watching, I haven't got your steps in for the day. Stand up.
Yeah, start stepping in place.
Get your steps. Get hydrated.
Yeah, that's a very important one, especially with the heat wave that's been going around Europe. It's been the first colder day in like forever in the Netherlands, and I've been enjoying it.
Good. I'm
I
glad.
don't know how it's in Paris right now, where the crew is. I know when they just arrived, they were having trouble. Oh, it was raining. Okay, well, that's great. Rain is good.
True. It's good for crops
Yeah, exactly.
and to dispel
Any
heat.
plant.
We'll be back in soon. If you've missed it, Koi, they're 2-1 up. There was a disconnect on ITB's side in that last round. And to be honest, I'm not really sure how much it would have affected. Obviously, it could have been the biggest thing. You never know. But at the same time, the push that came across Armory, at that point, because of a catch coming up metal stairs, it was actually a body advantage in ITB's favor. Then suddenly Deepak gets one. Leon with the swing around the back of them that happened around CC nets 2 kills as well. The trap was sprung. But that CC position was where Yonka was playing. Who knows? Who knows how the round would have gone?
And it's kind of the thing, right? Like, you lose the ability to go for a flank watch as well at that point.
Yeah.
If you manage to get that first kill cleanly, you have 5v4. You can have 4 people focusing on the site, 1 watching the flanks. You're all good. But if you all need to start pushing towards the site, flanks or areas are being left open. Just less ground you can cover if you lose a player like that. So, very unfortunate. There's nothing we can do about it. And all we can do now is just wait until we get back in.
It is, as I talked about before, the first time we've had Koi tie 2 rounds in a row in the opening half of the games that they've played. Obviously, their first play day, they didn't get any. The second one versus Secret, which was technically the third one, which was yesterday. They got 2, but obviously different sides, different halves. It was their attack first, I believe. I vaguely recollect. Hey, we're back in.
As we're going back in, yes. So, game soon to be underway again. Just counting down those last few seconds before we get the action. There it goes. Prep phase first, of course, though, allowing Koi to,
The prep phase is
I know,
first?
I know.
Since when?
We've had such a long downtime, and the prep phase still is here. So,
All right, what we want to see here, I suppose, is a little bit more of the astuteness and awareness that we've had from Koi on the most recent rounds. Because the first had, let's be honest, questionable moments. But then you look at the most recent round where, I don't know if Deepak's just gone, Leon, you're not doing that again as Mirror. Give me Mirror. You get on the 1 point. You get on the Warden and you go do other things. And to be fair, it worked in the previous round. They were at his army. They said, got that flank round, got the 2k, which could have swung the round into their favor and maybe is the reason. Leon is now back at that mirror window, though, so who knows how... Who knows?
all right. Let's see. Last time we did see very heavy armory kind of push to come through. I don't think there's any reason for ITB to try and change that now. The Twitch drones will be inserted to remove Valkyrie cams, but also to remove the mirror window. Oh, midair, missed. Second one hits. Now get out with that drone. Lost it, unfortunately, there, but at least one of the mirror windows has been taken down, and that's a very good mirror window to take down as well, because suddenly Office becomes a lot less playable with that one gone.
Yeah, especially when you've obviously, got that angle open on the bottom rung of Office wall. It means that if they get control of these stairs, they can sort of get that shot across. They can try and be a little bit cheeky and bounce things around as well. You become a lot less safe in that position. Cryan on a route and a run around. Let's see if they can hold on to CC and make things awkward outside in that balcony where, remember, it was a lot of snap pressure. Here's a grenade we talked about once upon a time, but they aren't even with the pings. I was about to say aware, so shouldn't get caught, but that's just rotten timing. There's at least the end of one fight with Deepek getting the second, supporting Jigsaw. Swung around from underneath, and this is the reactivity that Koi needed. What ITB thought was a bit of a clean sweep underneath turns out to be a surprise strike.
Well, it was until the drop and the push down the staircase came at the exact same time. Jigsaw finds another kill onto Noah. I believe there was a drop coming down towards the ground floor as well from the player inside of Office, and that leaves Koi now up in a 4-2 advantage. They're definitely starting off strong on the attack here on the defense, on border. Looking to see if they can continue that and push themselves up to 3 rounds. As that mirror window already opened up, Kendrew doesn't have to open that one. He used that Selma elsewhere.
Once it's super open. Great take.
Great shot.
To the back on the shield. He's pushing his way down the corridor itself. Seeing if he can try and get some eyes and ideas on long. They still have those cams. Still have the impression on the routes of the players. But with the angle towards this Office take, there is the player underneath. And that's Deepek with a C4. Assume, and that's going to turn into a dangerous situation because it just takes one C4 here, one bit of knowledge on where the plant's going down, and we've seen the Valcam games done before. They are right there. There's the cover from Jigsaw around the back, not even needed. Yonka caught inside with a Fenrir gadget, and with 15 seconds, going for a long route around to get that kit. Jigsaw puts a couple of bullets into him. Swings for the next fight, recollects the diffuser, just has to sort of hold it at this point or his life was forfeit. The spray through the soft gets it, and Koi get the round.
Bit of a warning shot coming out from Jigsaw there as he pre-fired. Didn't quite get the kill, but knew he had the luxury to just stay and wait because the plant had to happen, knowing that Deepek, of course, is playing down below. 3-1 now. Great start to this half from Koi. Now they need to see if they can continue that one for these next 2 rounds. As I head back towards Teller's bathroom, castles again to be on the board. We saw ITB struggle with those in the previous round they played here.
Not only is this the first time Koi have been ahead, but it's obviously now because of that the first time they've had a round safety buffer as well. They have a bit of performance here. Performance they've been missing, and well, it's probably a bit of a shame here for ITB because they're going to have to step back up. From them growing throughout the season to this, even if they pulled the max 3 points from this game, it still doesn't confirm anything. There's some great graphics that Sprabuni did, shown earlier on in the stream, at the very beginning, that sort of gave the breakdowns, I believe, of who needs what, where, and when to get themselves at least confirmed for top 3. And with how tight the run of this group has been, and with how both their wins have been in OT, ITB are still nowhere near secured.
Definitely not losing here right now today. That probably means the end as well. If they don't make it to overtime, by the way that the current tiebreaker seems to be working, they're in 4th place. If they lose today, or get a decent enough round advantage, they might be bumped down into 5th. So that's not a great prospect for ITB. They really need to be getting everything together here to make sure that they find themselves with a victory. Even though Koi just won 3 rounds, we've seen ITB do lots of things this stage already that we definitely haven't seen from them during stage 1. So improvement is there. Now they need to show that they're resilient as well. They can come back from these positions where they are behind against a team that loves the aggression. Kanto, yeah, is just waiting, hoping for someone else to take down the pest before he continues on with that drone.
There's a player underneath. They have the vertical angle. Kendrew slips his way around, and they've just tucked themselves into sight. But look at this. Look at Noah on the far side as well. They're going for a very quick break here onto it. The calls are coming around the corner. Deepek's doing his best just to catch a player, but there's so many around the waiting area waiting for exactly that swing. Kendrew, he's in and going for the plant. Noah's watching the rotate round. They should assume someone's on the window. Kanto gets a double, but they are at least able to get a little bit of control back just before the control starts to come against them. Now it is just a 1 versus nobody. And a very quick strike. Once again, nets ITB around.
Very well read by ITB there. Realized that there was an opportunity to go for it and took it with everything they had. Just rushed down the staircase on the east stairs, pushed themselves into the side, especially once they had that first kill. You can just try and go for the plant. Having a player in the window is going to be making sure that there's no, rotations coming through that you have to worry about. So opportunity spotted and taken by both hands. So great call from ITB in that round. Need to do it once more, though, to equalize the scoreline here and get themselves a good fighting opportunity for what is to come in the second half. Again, we're going to see the mirror window from Deepek, or mirror play from Deepek onto this first floor site. Now, I cannot really recall how effective they were the last time we were here. I know Corey won the round, but not sure if that was mirror window that was challenging.
Yeah, it might not have been the mirror window specifically, but Deepek being able to hold on a little bit longer above, get the kill, and with the down coming at the same second as he dropped down as well. You could see he really wanted to confirm the second kill. I don't think they fully expected it. He held on, and whether he would have done that whilst playing the mirror or not, impossible to call. But he did it, so let's say it's a success story.
Okay, as he's getting himself up to the top to put those windows down. The last one, rather. Didn't see it played at this wall for the majority of the game. Sometimes successful, sometimes not so much.
Do you remember when it used to be soft underneath that wall?
Yes.
For the rework. Just had a flashback to how impossible it was to play a mirror on that location.
That's why he didn't play it.
Wall gets a bit of attention quick and... well, doesn't stop the mirror window popping open, but does at least stop it becoming a rotate for now. They either have to dedicate a little bit more resource to it or go for a take. Jigsaw tickles the side of Kanto's body with some bullets. He's not quite sure where and when that pressure is going to come from next, so he's pulled away. Kendrew, in the meantime, he's slowly creeping on the rappel. It will make a lot of sound, but it's also still a big chance of where you've got to aim, whereas if you pop your head up from that window, they know it's quite limited. You can see ITB sort of surrounding the take here onto Armory. There's a lot of pressure onto CC first. Kryan's going to do his best to hold on because, as we said before, the rotate round the back here after Yonka disconnected was where, for my money, Koi were able to steal the round back. And it seems like ITB just want to ensure that that does not happen again.
Some calls are coming through, so they're aware of some positions. Kanto sneaking himself in here. The prox alarm is going to give away his position, but no one is near to actually reply. Finds himself on the balcony into break room. He's hoping to be basically cutting everything in half. And he can do that by opening up some of these walls to really stop any rotations outwards from the side of Koi, which means that they're no longer able to get themselves into CCTV or break at that point without taking a gunfight.
A minute left here, and obviously as soon as you got the vertical, you can get the drop pretty instantly down towards the site, but without any bodies claimed, they've got to try and make that snap now, and here it comes. Flashes over the top. Kryan wants to step into the fight, but he gets knocked back by Kendrew, who's going to quickly try and move the momentum around into the site itself. Jigsaw still holding on towards Fountain. The C4 gets Azza as Deepek drops back round, and Kanto waits for a response and a rotate to come round. Hoxty isn't too far away either. They still have two bodies on the vertical, and Kendrew, with the kit, is still looking down through it, trying to find a pocket of space to go for the clear. The longer this goes on, the more likely those rotates are going to be sort of defining once again for this round, but they're still just waiting. Hoxty is the first to make a move. Heads around long, heads round onto the swing, onto short here, around the back of a player. He's got the free catch on it. They can just flood in and retake the vertical. Kendrew's going to go for the plant. There's Deepek with one. There's Kendrew caught out by Jigsaw. Noah can't see anything because he's stuck in a Fenrir mine. So Leon just cleans up the round.
He went from FNAT to FNAT. There was no seeing for him anymore in that round. And Koi to manage to win that half, put it up 4-2 into their own pockets. Now, onto the attack though. It's where everything needs to connect. It's where everything needs to work. We've seen them struggle. Now it's up to them to show all the viewers at home that they are still that core that's won a major. I know in previous play days, Fabian said it doesn't matter if you won a major with a core. It's all about the mentality. And that's something they need to get back. They need to get back the positive mental attitude to get themselves the motivation to win. And the way that this first half went, that should be something that lifts their moods up and gives them the opportunity to secure this into a victory.
4-2 ITB. It's not quite done yet. You've pulled yourself back from rocky places, but as we said, you're sort of desperate and thirsty for the full 3 points here because things have taken a knock on your previous wins, mean that, well, the wins aren't the full fat and you're still fighting, battling against teams that have otherwise only pulled one. Koi, they had a good performance in the last game that they played. They were just missing a couple of those edges, and what was it cited on the desk as being a bit slow, a little bit sitting on their laurels. They haven't been on their defenses. They've been very mobile. They've been very active. If they can keep some of that energy, you might see this being pushed over the edge sooner rather than later. The Glaz Ossa take here.
Oh.
They're going to set themselves up onto AC window. They're going to try and just get a plant on the inside of the door and hope there isn't a C4 underneath. Kanto is the person to look at stopping this, but also anyone with a C4.
As soon as that door opens up, it should be rotating some members from ITB around. That should be a warning sign, like, hey, something's coming. Especially once, you know, you have that player in the back of the armory that can look all the way through. It's going to be up to the players down below to see if they can maybe find one or two with their grenades, neutralize the biggest threats.
So many of them.
That shield.
So many of them stepped back in there into archives as soon as the sound of the Talon destroying the door came against them.
As I said, as soon as that door opens up, they instantly need to go.
Oh, there's Kanto, able to take care of Jigsaw. Leon suffers a bit, and the Glaz is gone. At that point, when the Glaz has lost the fight, well, you sort of lose the control of any of the smoke plant play. You've got to see if you can try and isolate a kill out of it. The calls are coming through, and Cryan, tucked underneath, has 2 grenades, wants to see if he can get away with something here. Kendry's watching towards it as the deploy comes out. There's another C4, and that one, a perfect sort of catch there. The second thrown in. And as I said, they have one more. They were prepped in the best way against this take, which is just long arm C4s and huck them over.
Grenades being tossed in by Cryan now, hoping to find something to, well, help his cause, but 2 tossed in, nothing found. Deepek alive on the top, just spraying with the DMR, hoping to find something through the wall as well. It's just basically going for a bit of a Hail Mary approach now from both of these players, seeing if they can force something from ITB, that there's, you know, something they can use within it. As Deepek's going to do a lot of damage to Kanto. It's not quite the kill he's looking for, and that bot wire on the main stairs, it's definitely going to be alerting the player on the top of it that someone is trying to sneak up.
It's very tricky. Obviously, at this point in time, you're in a 2 versus 5. It's never going to be anything other than very tricky, but you went for a utility take. You went for a very defined take with those operators. There's one. Deepek fires some heavy hits towards the Hope at a second onto Beepers. But you're just very much in a rock and a hard place here. Pulls the kid out. Gonna see if you can try and bait some motion. There's almost a little bit of shake-up, but I think from the point that you obviously lose, if you're doing that take and you lose the Glaz and the Ossa, you don't really have anything left.
No, that's the thing, especially when you lose that glass first on, you kind of rely within planting in smokes. Losing the glass is going to be basically making sure that you lose the opportunity to look through those smokes. The Ossa definitely doesn't help either, as you know, those talent shields are a huge asset to use to get that plan down. And thus, we found ITB winning that first round. They were also, by the way, very heavily set up around the fountain area. There wasn't like a big amount of roamers. I feel like 4 people were playing on the side or just in the room adjacent to it. And that means that as soon as you open up that door and there's a glass that's shooting from a window, you kind of know what kind of play is coming. So, good response coming from ITB there.
4-3. We'll see how much further we go. You know, there's something that I've seen.
What have you seen?
About the game. So there's a, you know how Rainbow Six likes to hide things on their maps? And there's a content creator by the name of Titanium Morello that found all of the clovers.
Yes.
And they got one of the rarest charms in the game.
Oh, really?
Rarest charm in the game from doing that. Only like 4 people have it. People have started to find skulls hidden on maps now.
Oh.
Apparently. So, free cam operators, good luck.
Oh, that's definitely going to be helping you indeed to
Hunt 'em
try
down.
and find the Easter eggs.
You love Easter eggs, apparently. So the rumors are. Anyway, that's a side note. I just wanted to mention it whilst I remembered. Whilst we had a little bit of time, whilst the game about to pick up in intensity again. The fight over the side of the doors. They've hopped into detention. Az is doing his best to dance away from this, but does he know just how close they are to that soft? Not anymore.
Opening the door from the safety of outside Jigsaw to have a safe way to rotate out if there was someone on the other side of that door. Ping's coming through from Koi on the utility that is being utilized by ITB. Of course, Valkyrie cameras are going to be used if Valkyrie is left open. It's not often, like, she gets banned quite often, and on a map like Border, she's especially useful. Leaving her open here. Oh, that's Crying in a gunfight there. Missed the first opportunity. And Azir is the one that confirms the kill eventually. A C4 blows up. Doesn't actually get any damage done, but it opens up an angle that he can now use vertically.
Oxty's getting this long stretch. Border allows you to get these pretty filthy angles that cut a map in half. You can find a big overwatch towards the back end, and Noah's going to do what the architect or the operator can do and get themselves some safety. But as Kanto gets one more, suddenly they might be able to lean back in to this approach and aggression. 2 kills without a response as of yet. We need to try and pounce on one of these before they find themselves leveled up once again. Bouncing the grenade towards the metal stairs. No one's quite home. There's the player on the far end that Hoxty's gone to put the pressure onto. Takes a lot of damage. Kanto. Oh, but it's the catch. The cap can in the middle of the road. The cap can finishes it off. They at least get Noah, but now it is only Hoxty left.
So they see him start checking for these Capcan traps as he runs through. Doesn't matter though. Kendrew finds him through the ankle holes that have been created. He realized he was on the opposite side of things. Just takes him down as he runs by. So great round again from ITB. They equalize the score 4-4. Still isn't anyone's game, and Koi requesting a timeout, needing 45 to chat. Because something isn't connecting anymore. They found us 4 rounds when they were on the defense, but I just said it, as they swapped over to the attack, it's a different beast. It's a different kind of game. You need everything to work out for you. The cohesion needs to be there. And it could be like 1 or 2 small things that basically ruins that cohesion for you. So if that's fixable, better to take that time out now than to wait until it's like 6 for ITB or 5. Because Koi also know that they basically need all 6 points in these next play days to put themselves in a good opportunity.
That's entirely it. The fact that obviously they started in the worst way possible, then they come back into an OT loss. If they get the win here, before we have the other game in hand today, that means that 4 teams are on 4 points and 1 team is on 5 points. And that's the whole face of the group. Yes, there will still be a game in hand. That won't stay that way for the rest of the day. But it really shows just how quick your chances and your fortunes can change around in this shorter playday system.
Up to the first floor. As we're ventilation and workshop.
That's the props. You got to try and find these skulls now. If I can see them being discovered by people, and I don't know where the border one is. No one's discovered the border one yet.
Right. You have 20 seconds to search.
Just know where it is. Apparently it makes a flaming sound.
It would be very funny if you just straight up hovers to it and finds it. But
if you just found it, it'd be impressive. They're going for it. If we get onto a map where I've seen people post about it, I'll direct you.
Speed mode now, trying to find it.
Following the players. It is very cool. It's a great usage of this free cam gadget. I just want to be involved. I want a fancy rare charm, you know. What's your rarest charm?
It's hard to tell. I don't know actually what my rarest charm is. It might be like from playing, I don't know if we got a charm for playing like, ooh, that's a spot. There's a player on the east stairs as well. Should be killed. There you go. Jigsaw instantly inserts himself into the building and finds Kento. Great take. And now a player with a C4 as well is always going to be very helpful. That's a great usage of a pre-placed drone right there. That's how you want to start off a round.
I mean, it's what they needed, right? After the timeout, after how a couple of rounds have gone away from them, they have to keep that edge. As I said at the start of this, is the first time they have been ahead in any of the games that they've played in this second split. And with how thin the opportunity is to get SI points, to get yourself closer and closer towards the big tournament, they've got to try and make the most of it. Jigsaw keeps that drive going, takes care of Yonka. Curious about being caught by Cam or that. Watching and waiting for anything else to maybe follow suit as the grenade is about to start pinging towards the calls that just keep them guessing. They've got to drop to get out of there. No, they're going to sit around.
Means a grenade used there to get rid of a player. Almost close to taking the head off there of Leon Gids. Still taking a little bit of damage, still rotating out. That was actually coming in from the 90 area up top. Kendrew will find Hossie though, so that's going to be one threat at least alleviated for now. Boys still in a man advantage, but they only have that top floor slightly under control. As they're still out here, behind the shield's going to be very difficult to deal with. Barely has a way out either, so he's literally going to be fighting till his death here.
Oh, that was a thread the needle moment, and Jigsaw being the one that moved into that fight. I mean, this is why they've picked him up from the other side of the world and brought him over here. It's great to see him really cutting his teeth into EUL. There was the documentary series. It's very, very good, where they talk about the players and talk about how confident he is, and moments like that where you're like, this is why. Kendrew slips away just before the grenade hits him. And he maybe get a catch because, you know, the pressure of time is always going to be present there. It's a 4 versus 1, but...
Oh, the timing.
Yeah, timing.
Lost his teammate, quickly checked over, and instantly afterwards, Jigsaw is there to pick him up. And Koi, after losing 2 in a row, they go for a timeout and now find themselves back in the lead. It's just by a round. It's the lead nonetheless. And if they find another, they get a second point. But they're not playing here for a single or 2 points today. They need the full 3. So, with that said, they need more rounds like the previous one. That pre-placed drone into the immediate entry onto Kanto. Great play. It's how they need to start off these rounds. Of course, it's easier said than done when you're playing at this level. But it's sort of what we expect from teams at that moment, especially if you want to go aggressive, especially if you want to go quick. And it's a map like Border that's so paper thin. Because that's the thing as well, right? Like there's almost no place you can hide here.
Oh, not at all.
Like, you can be shot from above or below or like through the walls that are right next to you. There's very limited spaces where you're actually safe.
It's the strange sort of evolution of this side of the map pool in the pro scene. It's been populated once upon a time by, you'd sort of have Border, you'd have Consulate or Old Consulate, and you'd have Coastline, as these little tight, aggressive, get in, get aggy maps where things can sort of become punchy very quick. This is really one of the only ones left of those generation of maps. Consulate's had its big facelift and its big change, and it's like 2 consulates glued together now. You have Border sitting in this strange place where it's not many maps that play as short and sharp as it does. I mean, look there, you sort of walk 4 paces in and you're already cutting the entire second floor in half. Or you're being cut in half by them.
Had a great round the last time around, and now Noah just steps up, takes him down, goes for a second kill. We'll find that Yonka follows up. Grind and Leon Gids, we're 40 seconds into the round, and there are the only 2 left. And it wasn't even a rush for that.
No.
It's just all being outside the building and the fight's being taken to them.
I mean, that's it, right? You make a reference of how thin this map can be and how quick it can turn deadly, and Kanto just got a kill from one corner of the map out the door to the outside of the opposite side of the map. This is what we mean. There aren't really any other maps that play like this, and if you lean into that gameplay the same way that ITB do lean into some more sort of out there games that get them the pushes, it can lead to things like this. There's, 2 minutes left and 1 player And they didn't even go for the rush. They just tried to approach it.
As Leon about to be swinging. Oh, gets taken down by a flawless. And that's going to be a great response from ITB to Koi that, you know, just had their timeout, managed to find themselves with a very convincing round very quickly as well. To a very quick response, a very ruthless response from ITB. Saying like, what if we do not even let you enter the building? Because I said at 40 seconds and there was only like 2 players left in the attack. That's usually what happens when a rush goes wrong. But they were still all outside. No one entered the building at that point.
This round, massively important now. There is no buffer, no safety, no net. The fact they've got themselves neck and neck here, it's not even the real decider of it. Neither team wants to have piecemeal points. Neither team wants to be in overtime. It's pretty much all or nothing between these two. So this round has a lot of stress onto it.
And that's for sure. And I was thinking like maybe ITB can afford it a bit more than Koi could, but I don't even think that's true. Like they'll be on 2 within striking distance of all the other teams that are yet to play still. Because this is their last game. After this, it's done. So if they only get 2 points, then Secret, Wild, and VP will all still be in striking distance. So they really need to get a full 3-pointer here to make sure that there's at least one team going to be missing out. And, you know, it would have been good for them to get some proper round differential as well, but no, that's not going to happen anymore because the best they can do now is a +2. And that is especially giving those 3 points.
Koi playing, at least you assume, a little bit up to their namesake of being Koi here with how quickly they lost people on the approach before. Jigsaw on this entry, if they're able to get this first kill, if it gets away from them, could be the deciding factor. They hop out just over the side. Jigsaw is aware and gets the catch. Noah, a bit of revenge from the previous round, a bit of not quite knowing just how close Jigsaw was and ready to rock and roll. Hoxty has the call of the player, but with how much they've got keeping them safe here, the bounce of the grenade round to the back corner is just going to be already a little bit too late. Azza had moved out, moves back in, catches the drone, makes them have to keep guessing.
Deepak misses the slip there from the ITB player rotating through Kendrew. Finds himself in the office quite safely. Cryin now is a little bit less safe due to Cryan's position out there. Still plenty of ways to go. Jigsaw looking to see if he can maybe respond upon it. See if he can find Kendrew after he supposedly just managed to get himself into the office. Of course, we are playing downstairs. That's the bomb site. So they want to get control of office eventually so they can use that hatch against the defenders. But as long as Kendrew is around and fighting as he takes down Hosty, it's going to be great for ITB.
Donka took a lot of damage on that, but they're still standing for the engagement, and it only takes a bullet to score in this game. Kanto, stretch control here over to server. He's locked in a little, but removing that drone, you know, if someone goes around and swings on to check it, they can say, well, we know that somebody was there. Look at this, the spread across all of the ground floor with 50 seconds. The pressure is still on Koi here. As I said, it's going to feel real heavy this round. They want to see if they can just get that balance back into their favor before they go for the drop.
Time slowly starting to tick down here for Koi. Need to make a move happen. ITB still around on multiple sides of the map. And as Jigsaw goes in first, he looks to open up. There's a player inside the shower he doesn't see. And that gets him taken down. Leon will respond though. And that means they're inside with that diffuser, needing to plant this. The entirety of workshop has been reinforced off, which makes it very difficult to retake for the defenders. And 45 seconds are now counting down. Deepak and Leon gets the last 2 standing for Koi to try and make sure they can go for 6 first.
Well, Kanto went over the top to go for the retake as well. Got the kill onto the back of it. As we said, both Koi players are stuck underneath. There's the smoke that won't fully cover Kanto. The glasses are active, and he's just looking for a fight, but they stay tucked. 20 seconds, and it's getting real narrow here. Kendrew wins out against Leon. It's Deepak out on the window that gets caught. And ITB confirm themselves a point. They might be able to secure 3.
It's a little bit of Revenge right there for Kanto. Or wasn't the Koi roster when they won the major. Changes happen. He now finds himself at ITB above Koi in the standings. And now he's going to be the reason, partly, of course, because it's a team effort, but that they will be on 6 first. They are taking a point away. And with that, basically removing the hopes and dreams from Koi to make it to the playoffs.
I mean, it's still obviously not over. The fact that Koi have a game against VP and this is the last Into the Breach game means that if Koi can still get to overtime, they have a little bit more of a chance. But that close, getting your foot in, getting your lead in, losing out the opportunity for the full 3 points. It'll be something that is a bit rough.
Now, as I'm quickly going over the Sprabuni statistics, this has basically put Koi down to, if they win in overtime, a 0.03% chance of making it to a top 3 position. If I'm reading this correctly, that is. And then they need to win every round from now on. So let's just put it up like that. That's what needs to happen for a 0.03% chance. It's not looking great for them.
No.
It's possible.
It's possible. But it's one of those situations that we highlight where it's out of your hands. And nobody in this group has made a clean break. Nobody in this group has been able to get through unscathed. Even the team at the top of the board has been to overtime once and lost once. There's always still a chance, Hap.
There's always a chance.
There's
not
always
for sure.
a chance.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying there's a statistical possibility. It's just very unlikely.
Just trying to give a little bit of hope. 5 to 6.
Give it a hoping fan to the Koi fan.
I mean, if this round goes away from them, then the hope is gone. I think at that point it's pretty much confirmed that they are staying towards the bottom.
Jigsaw. Great things need to be done here. The grenade about to be tossed through might actually find a player, but just enough time to move about and get away from the blast radius there. Leon gets dropped. I believe that was a C4 that just got tossed out, and that's not a great start to a round where you're so desperately needing to win to keep your chances alive, and the rotations are starting to come through on the side of ITB as well. They know they do not have to stick around. There's 90 seconds left on the clock. Still a player that's inside a fountain, though, that has been unspotted so far, and Cry not actually moving his drone in that direction. And as the openings get made, they now know about his existence out here as he's going aggressively in Azur. That confirms Leon Gids.
Yonka holding on for as long as possible. Sprays to find one. Looks for the second, but can't quite get it. Jigsaw keeps a little bit of hope, as I did before, but with the kid outside, Deepak's going to run around and get that recollected. They've lost a lot of bodies above, and that's the point here, as they've still got to try and push the site. Crying gets Azza, gets another connection, but suffers a lot of damage. You're still looking at the smoke. You got to get through. There might still be Capcan traps around that we've seen Koi suffer through before. It'll just take a whiff of either of them to be the end here of Cryan, draining out the back end. They don't have the hard breach anymore, so any of those walls, the pressure they might have been able to widen onto the shower side is gone. With 30 seconds, they've just got to try and drop it and rock it.
Trying to go for a take on the back. Noah rotating back into the side as Jigsaw's dropping inside of the bathroom. He's hoping to open this one up. He needs to find an extra kill to provide some security for the side of Koi, but Noah's going to round on the flank here. He gets himself in a good position. If he goes unspotted, he could go for a great kill, or maybe even a double as he finds the very first of the Deepak, but Jigsaw responds, keeps them in the game. He's the last man standing now. He's been brought over to Europe. He is the man that needs to keep Koi's dreams alive. He's all alone. 3 seconds. The time will run out, and that means it is going to be ITB that take the full 3 points here, and Koi to be eliminated from making it to playoffs.
Koi obviously still have a game in hand. That is the last ITB game we will have in league play, and it doesn't confirm them. Even though it's technically their 3rd win, they find themselves sitting, for now, top of the group with 7 points. However, you have Secret still to play next play day. They can get themselves over. You've got both Wild and Virtus Pro with 2 games each. It's a lot of sitting, watching, and hoping. Even with a huge performance from Jigsaw, not quite enough. We'll go to a quick break before we're back with the desk to break it down.
The stories write themselves here in Europe League as Kento denied his old team of getting a regulation win and eventually also eliminating them from the possibility of still making it to the top 3. But ITB themselves, they're really close to, fully qualifying into that top 3. It's a 99.7% right now. That must be great for them.
I mean, yeah, that means that basically the results that need to come in the group for them to not go through as a top 3 has to be literally round specific, right? There's only one way of them not going through. So I'm 99.7% sure that they will. I'm happy for them. I mean, they really showed up as a team, and that was the biggest difference between them and Koi. Yeah. They are actually a team, and they're playing good Siege, and they're showing up, all of them. I'm enjoying watching Into the Breach play, much more so than other teams.
I think we've leveled at them, right through stage 1, even play day 1 of this stage. Didn't look like a team, individual performances, what are they doing? And then they've come out and showed us back to back to back now that they are a team, that everyone can pull their weight. And I think that's absolutely excellent from them. 99.7, let's call it 100. They'll be in the deciders. They will get a shot at going to the major through playing out best of 3s, which right at the start of the stage seemed like an absolute far-fetched idea from them. So, I think regardless of what happens, they've got to be very proud of themselves.
Indeed. Let's ask them a few questions, though. We do have our winners on the line, and I believe we are joined by Kangaroo Kenu. Welcome. You must be feeling amazing right now.
Who would have thought? 3 wins from 4 for this roster. Who would have thought?
That is indeed very good news. I mean, we said it in the pre-show, right? Not to disrespect Into the Breach, but I feel like if you would have talked about this at the end of last stage, a lot of people would have thought, indeed, like, that's a bit crazy. But you did manage to make it happen. The first question, though, Fresh wanted to know, why Border? Because it's kind of a low preference for both of you two teams?
Not low preference for us, but, you know, first 3 games, we didn't want to take Wild to Border, understandably. Didn't want to take Secret to Border. It's their best map. And then VP permaban it. So we always knew we were going to Border today, depending on one map ban from like one specific map ban from Koi, which I'm not going to say. But yeah, we always knew we were a very high likelihood of Border today, and it's been one of our best maps and scrims. Our attacks were probably quite lacking today. I think the one round where Yonka crashed, we potentially win if he's still there, so we go 3-3 on a half, but you know, we have to roll with what happens in this game. And sometimes you get unfortunate, but our defenses were incredible. I know that I was confident in the team. As soon as we got a 2-4 half and then we went on to defense, Koi have been utterly miserable at attacking this season. I knew that we had it.
All right, but about your own attacks, you said you were lacking a bit. What was specifically lacking from those attacks?
I think attacks were just hard because we didn't ban one of the 4 power operators. So Azami, Valk, and Fenrir were all open, as well as Mirror. So you just had too many issues to try and deal with on your attacks. Like you either bringing Twitch or Brava for the Fenrirs, or you're bringing an IQ or Dokkaebi for the Valk, but then you need your hard breacher to get the mirror windows. Then you've got to worry about bringing soft breach for the Azamis. You just had a lot of issues that you couldn't deal with them all, so you always had something that you just ran into a brick wall with. So attacks were always going to be difficult given our Legion ban.
Okay, well, makes sense. We said on the desk, it's a 99.7% sure that you make it into deciders now. All you need to hope for, we had Spabudi confirm this for us, Virtus Pro need to beat Wild, and then you're 100% confirmed. Is this a stressful feeling, or are you managing with this?
Well, look at the expectations before the stage. We knew that just improving was our goal, right? And we've shown that we have improved, and we've shown even in the results that we've improved. I think personally, I don't know if that echoes across the team, but if we lost all 4 group games, but we still showed that the team had developed and started building as a functional unit inside of Siege with fundamentals and basics, I would have been happy. But this is just the icing on the cake. Like, we've shown, as Fresh said, not once that it wasn't a fluke. We did it twice. Oh, maybe they just had 2 lucky games. We've done it 3 times now. 3 out of 4 games where we won. I'm over the moon, and so are the players. Our hard work's paid off.
Indeed, it is very well deserved. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully the stress doesn't get too bad during the Virtus Pro Wild game. Thank you for your time, and we hope to speak to you soon.
Thank you.
I'm so glad he's in Tier 1, finally. I know, we've been nice about Into the Bridge, but to see, a friend as well that's had a team at top of Tier 2 for like 2.5 years finally make it up, and then that team have improvements and do well. It's a nice moment.
But it's not only that, he's brought some players with him, or rather they brought him with them because of the they realized the value of each other and the development that he's had on this team as much as the players that he's had with him before. And it's not just the 2 that came with him now in Astra and Jonka. He's just developed tons of players. So it's a really impressive thing. And now being able to actually put a team on, top 3 of their group in Tier 1, it's a step that they've taken as a group.
Yep.
And overall, they just look fantastic as a group. They are actually all doing well. None of them is struggling behind. But this game as well, it's just to open up more questions for me with Koi though. Like, what are we expecting of them? Because we're looking here at 5 kills in combination on Cryan, Hoxley, and Leon since they swapped over to attack. So 6 rounds, 5 kills combined on 3 players. These things don't work out. I mean, Jigsaw can't go 16-7 and still lose the games and just have this sort of troubles. All due to ITB, they played good. But what is Koi up to?
That is painful indeed to look at that. But then, indeed, as you mentioned, the side of Into the Breach, Kenta on the top of the scoreboard is not something that we do see too often, but it means they're not playing top heavy.
I actually, when I do my prep notes, I do a little bit on every single player just about where they're at individually. And one of the things I said about Kendra is like, he's not playing the traditional hard support roles for Into the Breach. He's doing a lot of flex operators. And he was sat with a 0.5 KPR before this game. So he was getting 1 kill every 2 rounds. Not really performing to a level that we know he's capable of. he's come out today being the top frag. And that just puts, like you say, the icing on the cake of an all-round team performance as well, that's the cake. So I think for, Into the Breach, there's so many good signs going for them. Indeed.
Well, you said on the side of defense for ITB, was their defense that good, or was it just the attacks of Koi maybe lacking a little?
I think it's kind of both, but it also resonates with what Kangaroo said. Yeah. Kangaroo Kenny said in the bans. When you've got a Legion ban and you're leaving so many powerful operators over, even though Border you would say is attacker-sided, is definitely going to sway it that way. And I think, Koi looked pretty miserable in attack, but also there's so many powerful operators they had to play against.
Yeah, I mean, they missed shots. They didn't know how to pick anything apart. And when, as you say, Kenny said it, there's just too many things to pick apart. How are you going to deal with all the utility the defenders has on the map? So it's very difficult for Koi, but I look at their defense and I saw so many confusing movements from them as well as an individual unit. Like, what are some of the moments where we just expose ourselves to a default angle that's normally held? Was held this time too. Of course you're gonna die. It's just bad movement, bad individual decision. Confidence seems to be at an all-time low. Yeah, there's a lot of questions. I just don't have any answers for anything.
Lots of things to work on, Adi, for that one for sure. A sad thing for Koi, but a really good thing for Into the Breach, as they're pretty much confirmed right now. However, for our second game, it's kind of a similar story. We got Heroic coming up versus Wolves. Heroic can't make it into the top 3 anymore, but lots still up for grabs for Wolves. So we'll be right back with you after a short break.
ITB to take the full 3 points here, and Koi to be eliminated from making